people think that, oh, when I reach enlightenment, then oh, it's great, everything is great, like all my problems would dissolve. Yeah, then you're not human anymore. The very thing about being a human is to be a human. So it is to interact with these very human 3D things and plane. The true breakthrough is to still be able to interact with this very normal human things and have a completely different perspective on it and a completely different way of interacting with it. That is the true breakthrough. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I would love to share a little bit more about the Matrix, the two main things that are keeping so many people in the Matrix, the two main things that make it so challenging for people to detach themselves from it. First thing is money, and the second is time. For quite some time now, I have been working with these fields in my own personal money field and in my own personal experience with this time field. And I must say that they're both very interesting because out of so many things that we interact with on a daily basis, money and time, if you think about it, is something that we can't really live without. Every day when we need to buy something, we need money. Every day we look at the time. For us to meet a friend, we use the time to agree on what time to meet. Without it, our life would be drastically different from what it is today. So let's talk about money first, because money, no matter how someone is super spiritual and that has worked through a lot of their own stuff, somehow money always brings up things that are still in the field, that are not resolved, that are not reconciled. No matter how spiritual someone is, money to some point will always trigger something within them. And what guided me to share this video is because one day in meditation, I was brought into my bank account. I know that sounds really weird, but I was just like, doing my usual thing. I was just sitting in silence and tuning into the 0 point field and just being in that state, right? Without any thought, without any desire for this experience to go anywhere or to be anything. And then suddenly I found myself somewhere where I could feel into the emotions that are in that space. And then I could see the number popping up, number that is showing in my bank account that was popping up. And I could feel how my field was interacting with that money and the emotions that was bringing up. So then I knew, oh, this is actually my bank account and my consciousness is being brought here for what? And what I realized is that it was showing me like a scale. At this number, how does it make me feel? And then it dialed it downwards, how did that make me feel? And then it dialed itself upwards, how did that make me feel? And I realized one very important thing that it was showing me is that it's not about the number that dictates the frequency of this field of money that is sitting in this container, that is sitting in this holding space. It is actually what I am projecting onto this container that is creating this frequency, that is creating the emotions. But then we attach it to this number. But let's say you have $1,000 in your bank account and you feel really poor about it. At some point, even if it reaches 10,000, even if it reaches 100,000, even if it reaches 1,000,000, you will still feel poor about it, because it is not about what this number is creating, the frequency, but it is about what you're projecting onto this number or onto this container that is holding this number. And perhaps you have even felt it in your life or observed it before, experienced it before, where the richest person can feel still so still so limited, still so stingy, whereas someone who maybe only has $100 in their bank account can feel so much more abundant than this person who is a millionaire. Why is that so? It's because it is not about the number. It is the state at which you are operating in. It is the mindset. So even if you generate money, but then your state, the program that you're running, is always, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, then no matter how much you have, it's always going to be, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. And in fact, the more that you have, the more it is going to amplify that I don't have enough. So I invite you to do this little exercise. Feel into and tune into your account. If you have many accounts, you can do it one by one or in separate occasions, it's fine. To tune into it and to see the number that is showing up in your bank account. A lot of times we have this weird feeling around, tapping into our iBanking system, or like looking at our, I don't even know if people still use like the physical bank booklet. Most of the time now it's just an app, right? So logging into it and looking at it and looking at your finances, doing your finances if you have a regime, there is usually an emotion, a state that is connected to it. What is the state? And if it's not a state where you want yourself to continue running, then that is an invitation for you to reframe that, to reprogram that. But the first step is to be able to come to terms with how you're feeling about this number in your bank account, and knowing that it is not about the number, but it is about here, what you're feeling into it, what you're projecting onto it. So money is a very interesting medium. I think that I could use that word. It's a very interesting medium where it absorbs what we're projecting onto it. And then this medium gets circulated within the economy like so rapidly that now when you tune into the collective money that's circulating in the economy, in the banks, wow, like it is heavy. Like it is so heavy. And always there is this idea of when I hit this amount, when I hit this number, when I hit this, I can retire. When I hit this, I will be happy. When I hit this, and then we're constantly chasing for something in the future. So much so that we think that our life is guaranteed. Like we will reach that age or that point somehow. But who guarantees that we can live for this amount of years? Right? And then we lose our present moment chasing for this number, chasing for something that we want to achieve in the future. And if you even tune into this whole money system, you will realize that it is actually almost like a control mechanism that is, keeping people in this loop that one's life can only be this way because I need money, that money can only come through this kind of path, so this kind of careers. It is like a medium that is putting a cap onto people that life can only be this way, like this 9 to 5, and even beyond 9 to 5, even let's say if you're a freelancer or if you're doing something unconventional that is generating you this resource that you exchange for food, that you exchange for services, that you exchange for clothes, that you exchange for something. Even if you are doing it the less conventional way, actually there is still a part of you that is thinking, money can only come through this offering. So there is always a dependency on a certain thing, a certain method, or a certain path. About loops, we will move briefly into time. You probably have heard me talk about time loops a lot after my trip to Egypt and my trip to Greece this year, early this year in March, April. Firstly, before we talk about time loop, it is generally how we perceive time as linear. So because of that, it's almost like we cannot perceive time in a multidimensional way. So there is a lot of nuances around time loops that I will cover in a possible group container that I will be organizing. I don't know when that would be. I don't have any details yet, but I only do know that it would happen at some point, and every day I am receiving something and embodying that teaching that will then culminate as this group mastermind offering at some point in the future. So if you heard about me talk about the Diamond Heart, it is what it is. The Diamond Heart Initiation Group Mastermind. There will be a waitlist. I will drop the link below if you would like to join that, but I don't have any details yet. So if you join the waitlist, you will be notified on whenever and whatever when I have the details. The thing about time loop that I want to address here that you can probably feel already is that of just repeating this mundaneness of life. For example, what I really sensed into when I was back in Singapore is how people are talking about like the job over and over again. It's like Mondays to Fridays, every day is the same, and then they look forward to the weekend, and then that repeats itself on the weekday, and then they look forward to the weekend, and then they look forward to like a vacation, and then they're back to reality and it repeats itself. Okay, they look forward to the weekend and then look forward to the next vacation, and then on the grander scheme of things, it's like, okay, I'm planning for my retirement, I'm looking forward to my retirement, and they talk about the same things over and over and over again. It's like so loopy that every time I'm back, it's like nothing really changed. Like people are still talking about the same thing. People are still addressing the same things, and what is happening? So it feels like that you're running on a hamster's wheel, and you're just going back to like this cycle. So that is already very apparent, even without really tuning into what a time loop is about. Beyond that, there is also the loop of samsara. So people talk about karma, like how, when you have certain relationships and whatever, you have kids and all these things, and you have karma, and because you have unresolved karma, you're coming back again to settle this, and it's like a thing that goes on forever. People don't realize that they can actually transcend this, and karma, you can actually transcend karma. I talked about the 0 point body, the 0 point state, pre-source, pre-creation, no polarity, no duality, in a couple of my videos. And some of my recent transmissions, like the Merkaba one and also the one with Anubis, those two transmissions guide you to tap into this source field that is untouched, that is pristine, that is undistorted, uncorrupted. And at this state, you realize that everything dissolves. There's no karma. Whatever action that you do, it transcends karma. But that doesn't give you that reason to go and do something bad to someone. No, it's just at that state you realize what the true nature of reality is, and that you're not confined to this samsara. I think that was created by certain teachings, by certain religion, because they didn't want people to do harm onto others. And yes, that's how actually energy works, right? But at a certain stage, at a certain state, everything actually transcends all of that. It transcends duality. It transcends causality. There is no cause and effect. So that is actually the transcendental point of breaking out of that loop, that time loop. There are two things besides the time loop about time. The first thing is linearity, and the second is conditionality. I don't know if that's a word, but conditions. So with linearity, I mean, we all know that time is not linear, but then yet at the same time, in this field, in this very plane, it does feel very linear. And a lot of the times, perhaps when you converse with people who are at different phases of their own journey, that comes through very strongly, and that makes you realize, oh my gosh, there is actually still a very huge portion of people that perceive and really believe, or maybe they subconsciously, because that's just how it makes sense to them, right? That things needs to happen like in this linear fashion. And with linearity is also about the cause and effect. Like this happens, and then this happens, and then that happens. And it cannot be like the other way around. If you suddenly flip the equation around, they get all confused. Or if you suddenly talk about like these different things, like they get all confused, because they're only know that time is like this way, like this function, this equation. But it's not. So linearity is also something that is constantly holding us down or inside the matrix. And actually the matrix, very much what holds it is actually money and time. Like these are the two main consensus There are other things, but these are the two very strong ones that are sort of holding the matrix in its form. And then there's another thing about time, which is very conditional. For example, this needs to happen by this time. If it doesn't, then I failed, or whatever outcome, whatever consequence. This condition puts a cap on what we can experience and what is possible for us. So now the question is, how do we break out of the matrix? Well, it is not about breaking out of the matrix, because if you think that you want to break out of money, you want to break out of time to break out of the matrix, then that's not going to happen. At least now it's not going to happen, because that is very much what governs our reality. However, the point is not to not interact with these things that are very much holding the form of the matrix. In fact, it is still interacting with them, but knowing that they cannot control us. That is the main thing. What I'm feeling into these two consensus is that it has a very grippy feeling, like very controlling feeling. And we're being controlled by this money that someone just made up. We're being controlled by this time that someone just made up. But we cannot also disregard the fact that we do need money, and also we do need time. Otherwise, the way that we function in life is going to be very different. The key point is to be able to observe these things without it having a grip or having a controlling nature on you. So think about the exercise I shared with regards to money, tuning into this number. How does that make you feel? What are you projecting onto it? When you are able to realize certain things on your own about that, that is how you break through the grip that money has on you. And the same goes with time. What kind of conditioning are you running with regards to time? The three main things that I talked about: linearity, about the loops, about the conditions. These are just things that are coming up for me to share, but there can be still many things that are running in your time field. So it is also your responsibility to tune into your own time field and what kind of conditioning is in your time field. And then slowly over time, being aware of it. When is this the first step to then dissolving it? And then you will realize that it is not about having completely no interaction with these two consensus, but yes, interacting with them, yet not allowing it to have control over you, over your emotions, over your state. So there's one last thing that I want to share about money that I originally didn't plan on sharing, or that didn't come through when I was writing down some notes for this video. But what came through as I was talking is about how money is very programmable, more so than anything else. All things are programmable, but money has this very nature of absorbing whatever frequencies that are projected onto it. So that is why when you tune into your money, it will tell you what kind of emotions is stored in that container. In a sense, because it is programmable, it is also reprogrammable, meaning that you can erase all the past programmings that you have around money, and you can reprogram it, and run that frequency. And what is very powerful about money is that then you can, this actually, because it circulates in the economy. So when you program it and you spend it, it gets circulated in the economy, and it's kind of like grid work. So I can program my money to wash the frequencies of all the other monies that it interacts with as it circulates in the economy. I can program my money to spread light, to spread love. I can also program my money to spread fear. So with the state of this money field right now, you can say that, yeah, there are certain people who have certain agendas that are spreading this fear. It is so, in a sense, like viral, that it is running itself. So in order to stop that, it starts from us. It starts from us cutting that energetic cord and then reprogramming money in a way that we want to interact with it and in a way that we want it to interact with the collective field. That is one step more to just breaking out of the matrix. It's to reprogram the reality or these consensus. It is the same with enlightenment. People think that, oh, when I reach enlightenment, then oh, it's great, everything is great, like all my problems would dissolve. Yeah, then you're not human anymore. The very thing about being a human is to be a human. So it is to interact with these very human 3D things and plane. But the true breakthrough is to still be able to interact with this very normal human things, with this very mundane things, with these things that once used to feel so heavy and have a completely different perspective on it and a completely different way of interacting with it. That is the true breakthrough. So with that is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below about your thoughts, if anything came through for you. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.